My greatest desire for our clients is that they're lying peacefully on their deathbed someday and they're looking back and thinking, wow, that was so beautiful. I did everything I came here to do. That would be success to me because that meant that you lived your life intentionally.
Welcome back to the Richer Retailer Podcast. This is the kind of conversation that you business owners and I really need and didn't or don't always realize how much we need it yet. What I know for sure is that this will reframe the way you think about money entirely. And I feel like I've come so far and I've worked on that so far in my whole life. And yet it's had this incredible impact on me. I have brought the person, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional, who showed me that I was thinking too small. I am thrilled to introduce you to my friend and wealth creating financial planner. And I've decided to call her, she's our wealth creating financial planner for RETAILMavens, Kaitlyn Carlson. She is the founder and CEO of Theory Planning Partners, which is a boutique wealth creation firm for female entrepreneurs. And, you know, she works with their husbands also. So just know that men can still come too. She's a CPA, a CEPA, and an AWMA. And she has a seriously impressive background, including building more than 300 financial plans and working with clients from $500,000 to $1 billion and serving on teams that have managed over $6 million. And her focus, actually, I'm going to let her say what her focus is. Kaitlyn, please take it away. So nice to have you here.
Wow, Cathy, thank you for that introduction. That was just made me emotional because the whole reason why I do what I do is to see that type of reaction in clients and the impact that we can have. As Cathy mentioned, I am a certified financial planner and I have a background in working with some of the wealthiest families in the country, many of whom were also entrepreneurs. And when I was in private wealth management, I noticed that the model itself neglected the majority of small business owners because of the way the compensation was structured. And so my mission was to take the strategy and service and support that I was giving $100 million families and bring that to ambitious female entrepreneurs. Because when I was in private wealth, there were two things that I didn't see. One of them was business owners who were properly equipped to enter a season of financial freedom. And another one was women. And so Theory is my love letter to women in particular. We do work with some cool men, as Cathy mentioned. But I really founded the company on the Rumi quote, be the change you seek in the world. So I did not want to be part of just regurgitating the same sad facts. I wanted to be part of creating positive change. And so that's why I founded Theory.
Oh, it's so great. And I have personally experienced the power of what she does, and it has entirely changed the way Paul and I think about money and wealth. And so this conversation today, this whole new concept came up that I can't wait to share with you. We're really sort of doing this. This is an unusual. We already know already that it's going to be two parts because there's kind of two sides to this. And honestly, this is a masterclass for you because we're going to talk about something that we don't talk about enough in retail, which is why so many store owners are working so hard building successful businesses and still not actually building wealth. And I saw an email from a colleague of mine who said that he didn't know anyone that had gone into retail to get rich. I can tell you that that is completely and totally BS because it sets before you that you have to choose purpose or profit. And you don't. In fact, what I know is that people, your raving fans, your thumbs, your people out there, they want to support you to have both because they want you to be around. They're buying from you because of your purpose and they'll continue to contribute to your profit. But are you building wealth from that? That's the whole thing. So Kaitlyn, you've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs at this point.
Mm.
What do you see that women like my store owners are getting completely wrong about wealth, even when their businesses are doing well, or even before the store owner or the woman thinks their businesses are doing well? Because don't you find that that's an issue too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think across the board, what happens is that people find a passion, find an opportunity, and then they just start putting one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that quality about entrepreneurs, the courage, the focus, the work ethic, it's one of the most beautiful things about entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
What tends to happen is that, and this is what I saw before I was in the private wealth division of UBS, I was in Wealth Management Americas, where you're just working with like everyday people who are looking to retire. And the issue that I saw cropping up over and over and over again was people would run a business for 30 to 40 years. And then all of a sudden they would look up wanting to retire, or maybe they had a health event, or maybe they wanted to like travel the world. And they would finally look up and realize they had nothing to show for 30 to 40 years of business ownership. And the thing about businesses is there's always going to feel like a good reason to put out a fire or focus on the day to day of the business just consumes us so much. And I know I am also a small business owner. The thing that we need to do is take a step back and look at the big picture and think about, what do I want my life to look like? And how does the business support me living this life? That is the exercise that so few to no founders ever really do. And that starts with you personally. Like, my greatest desire for our clients is that, you know, they're lying peacefully on their deathbed someday and they're looking back and thinking, wow, that was so beautiful. I did everything I came here to do.
Mm-hmm.
That would be success to me, because that meant that you lived your life intentionally. And to your point, Cathy, a business can be such an amazing wealth creation vehicle. We have to have clarity, though, on what that business needs to accomplish for you in order to live the life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a simple yet difficult process, sometimes for different reasons. It can be complicated from a financial lens, but more often than not, it's just a very emotionally involved exercise. And it feels safer and easier to just focus on running the business than taking a step back and thinking about the big picture.
Correct, right. And so that's why it's easy to be successful and yet still not be wealthy, because I think you also never quite feel that you're ready to look up and take action on your legacy and your future.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. And I think what that is telling me is like our nervous systems feel like, well, let me just get here. Well, let me just get here. Well, let me just get here. And those goalposts keep moving. And so it's like we have to feel safe enough to stop and look up and reassess.
Right. And so how then do you define wealth for a female entrepreneur? And how is that different from just running a profitable business? Because this is where I just see what you do as such a mission for the world.
Oh, thank you, Cathy. Well, yeah, so let's dig into that. So I would describe wealth as the luxury of choice. You can choose to continue working. You can choose to stop working. You can choose to take a sabbatical. You can choose to travel. Like, that is true wealth. And I know the book 10X is Easier Than 2X kind of floated around the entrepreneurial world like 2 summers ago. And they talked about how the number one indicator of happiness is the ability to do what you want when you want. That is what it takes decades to build towards that. And so, like, financial freedom, the definition of financial freedom is your assets have replaced your need to work. And so in order to do that, we need to get clear on what type of business are you running? Are you running a lifestyle business or an enterprise business? A lifestyle business means you are the business is you. So like, if you stop, the business stops. That tends to be like a coach, a consultant, an influencer, or like a very owner dependent business. If you run an enterprise business, that means you have created an asset that you can sell. In order for it to be attractive to a buyer, it means it can no longer be dependent on you. And so we kind of need to get clarity on what type of business we're running. And it could be a mixture of the two. But either way, we need to make sure that there's a game plan for how the business, which is the original wealth creation vehicle, leads to all other wealth creation vehicles. if that makes sense.
Wait, say that one more time.
So your business is the original wealth creation vehicle, like the original money making machine.
Mm-hmm.
How does that wealth creation vehicle lead to other wealth creation vehicles? So to your point, like optimizing for profitability. Can we optimize for profitability and build a sellable business at the same time? That would be the best of both worlds. And that is what we should be aspiring towards, because no one wants to buy an unprofitable business.
Mm-mm. Well, and it's so interesting because so in the retail world, as you know, any store owner's largest asset is always their inventory. And I know that's why so many store owners don't build wealth, is because they don't at all recognize that its purpose, the purpose of their inventory, is to be one of the largest contributors to their wealth, to creating this vehicle that is going to create additional wealth creating vehicles for them. That's the whole thing. That is what so blew my mind, because I'd never thought about it or recognized it so clearly before. And it's because of how you have me thinking about all of this. I want to share this in $50,000 inventory story, I like to call this. So I want to make this super real for all of you. If you're doing, let's say, $700,000 in annual sales, you typically should have no more than $350,000 in inventory at retail value on your floor. I see this all the time. Instead of having $350,000 in inventory, they'll have $450,000 in inventory. And similar to what you said about putting out fires and all that stuff, the store owner for sure did it consciously, was intentionally trying to solve problems and bring in things to create more sales, to do all that stuff. But they end up having an extra $100,000 at retail, which is about, depending on their markup, let's just say it's $45,000 or $50,000 at cost. So that extra cash is sitting on their shelves, disguised as inventory, disguised as products that they're going to sell. But it's $45,000 or $50,000 of money trapped. I mean, how high is a stack of 50,000 single bills? I don't even know. But if that $50,000, let's just use 50 because it's just a good round number, wasn't sitting in slow moving inventory, but instead was invested, even super conservatively, oh my gosh, the money that it could make. And you don't realize that when you're looking at that inventory on the floor. But let me think about this. At a 7% return, so wouldn't you agree that's pretty conservative?
Yes. Yeah.
So at a 7% return, you guys, that $50,000 becomes, in 5 years, becomes $70,000, or in 10 years becomes $100,000. And in 20 years, that $50,000 of slow moving inventory of cash that's trapped in that inventory could be $190,000 from the same money. But instead, it's tied up in these products that may not even sell at full price. And this is why we teach about inventory turn and about open to buy and profit, not just how to run a better store, but to free up your cash, to create surplus and then build wealth with that surplus instead of quietly bearing it on your shelf.
That's so powerful, Cathy. And you're naming something super important about wealth building and wealth creation, which is it's incremental. It is small incremental decisions over a long period of time that add up to significant, hopefully positive consequences over the long run. And one thing that I also wanted to point out about what you just named in terms of the growth of that $50,000 is what's truly amazing about that is that that was entirely passive. You did not have to do anything for that money to grow from 50,000 to 190,000. That should be like, just like gold to a business owner whose biggest constraint is time, right? Time and energy are our most precious commodities.
Correct.
So if you can funnel that extra $50,000 into a passive wealth creation vehicle, that's like the best.
Yeah. It's incredible. And I think the other place where the money also gets lost or there's a missed opportunity is this whole retail creep thing. So retail creep, it's the whole thing of how everyone remembers how much money they spent on their very first car. That seemed like so much money at the time. How are you ever going to afford that car ever? And I'm just wondering now, how much does your car payment is? Or what was the last car you bought? Like somehow you managed to not only pay that, but as your own income increased, somehow your lifestyle increases to match it, correct? The same thing happens in the retail world, in the business world. As you make more money, you then spend more money on Facebook ads. You then invest in other things. You do a rebrand, none of which are bad things necessarily. It's not that, but it's just that you have to make sure that you're setting aside that money for wealth also.
Okay, this is a really important point because this is where having a financial plan, so like the crux of what theory does, having a financial plan keeps you honest. There will always be reasons to reinvest in the business. If you don't have a financial plan and you're not aware of what it's going to cost in terms of saving and investing to secure your financial freedom, the number one mistake entrepreneurs make is they're not aware that that number exists and they're not aware that that number needs to be funded. And so they just skip right over it into the lifestyle creep or the retail creep like you're describing. And that is because of Parkinson's law, which is that demand will expand to meet supply, right? So it's like if you see the money there, actually in our planning software, it is assumed that if dollars don't have a job, they will be spent. Because that is human nature. So our planning software requires us to give every dollar a job. Otherwise, we treat it like it's going right out the window because human nature is we will find a reason to spend it. And so that's why having a financial plan brings focus before the cash influx happens. And when we have focus and we have purpose, then we're turning into stewards of our money. And if you can turn into a steward of your money, the earlier you do it, the less it's going to take and the more powerful it becomes over time.
Yeah.
So that's why I also want to get people introduced to these concepts as soon as possible, you know, because like it was so depressing to be sitting there as a planner telling someone, usually someone who had to stop working because of a health event, that they had so few options, which loops back to like what I was saying before. Wealth is the luxury of choice. Wealth is the luxury of being able to say like, this is what I want to do and I can do it. And so conceptually, wealth is created through concentration. It is preserved through diversification. That pattern, we need time to move from concentration to diversification. It is a very slow and intentional process.
Right. This has been gold, Kaitlyn. What I want you all to walk away with from this first episode of this is that it's not just excess inventory, it's trapped wealth. It is your wealth that's sitting on your shelf. And it's not just a decision to rebrand, do a rebranding, or do your website. It's, I don't have a kitschy or cute way of saying it, but it's evaluating is that the right thing to do now? Or because if you're not creating the wealth by concentrating it, like Kaitlyn just said, if you're not creating it, then maybe the branding isn't going to help you because you will have lost that money, that $5,000 or $10,000 that it would take you, right? So, Kaitlyn, I want you to tell them how they can get in touch with you. And we'll also put all this information in the show notes. And then in the next episode, we're going to show you how to fix this. We're going to show you how to take the money you're already generating in your store and how to actually turn it into lasting wealth. So you're going to want to come back. But tell them where they can reach out to you now.
Sure. Thanks, Cathy. So you can find us at our website, which is theoryplanning.com, or you can also find us on Instagram at Theory Planning Partners.
Well, thank you so very much, Kaitlyn. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. See you very soon.